Yes, sir.
This conference will now be recorded.
Commissioner Bagley.
Here.
Do we need to
Here's
say
all.
where we're at?
Here.
Vicki?
Oh, yes, we have to state your name and where you are.
Hi, Commissioner Bagley, Ebony Bagley, Farmington Hills.
Okay. Herzog,
Amanda Herzog, Royal Oak.
Commissioner Charles,
Afternoon. Yolanda Charles here in Southfield.
Costin,
Robert Costin, Clarkston, Michigan.
LaFontaine,
Andrea LaFontaine, Birmingham, Michigan.
Long,
Christine Long, Commerce Township.
McGilvray,
Here, and I'm in Madison Heights.
Ash,
There we
Commissioner
go.
Nash?
Jim Nash, I'm here at Farmington Hills.
Quarles,
Here in Southfield, Michigan.
and Vanderveen.
Here in sunny township of Waterford.
We have 10 members present, Commissioner.
Thank you. If we can everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
And to the republic,
Republic for which it stands,
Stands
one
one
nation,
one nation,
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
Liberty
and
and
with
justice
justice
for all.
for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. First, I want to wish everybody a happy new year. It should be a good one for our Parks Commission in that we have the increased millage and we can maybe catch up on some of our projects that we got way behind on. So looking forward to it. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move it.
Moved by Costin, supported by Vanderveen. Is there any discussion? Vicky, is there any corrections?
The revised version that was sent out, there was a revised communications memo. And then 2 added items under old business. One is 2021 capital equipment for a generator, and one is the revised time of the commission meetings.
Okay. With that, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign for those opposed. Motion carries. Next, we have the minutes from the December 2nd meeting. Is there a motion? Motion by Long, supported by Quarles. Any discussions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Like sign for those opposed. And the motion carries. Next, we have public comments. Do we have any public comments?
There is currently nobody on the public comment line.
Thank you. Okay, next we move to the election of our Parks Commission officers. Is there a motion to appoint a temporary chair? Chris?
Yes, I move to appoint Bob Costin as temporary chairperson.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Okay, our temporary chair, Mr. Costin, will take over at this point.
You guys are killing me. If we're doing that, I would probably move to adjourn, and I'm flattered. Thank you so much, but I'm not prepared to go forward with this meeting. I'm very good on my feet. My face is red. My eyes are teary, and I think I know why Christine did that. And so I unfortunately have to say, if nominated, I cannot serve and would hope that Chairman McGilvery would take my place.
Okay,
Thank you, Christine.
okay, with that, I guess we need nominations for the officers. Are there any nominations?
Which positions, Mr. Chair?
Oh, wait, who's the?
Chris?
Okay,
go
I
ahead.
would nominate, oh, me, okay, you call me Gary. I would
Yes.
nominate, Commissioner Gary McGilvery for the permanent chairperson, and, David Vanderveen for the, vice chairperson, and who was the secretary? It was Ebony, right? Ebony Bagley as the secretary. I would, nominate those three.
I would support that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Costin. Nancy?
No, I was just giving support.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for officers? Hearing none, congratulations to all of you. And I
But we
look
need a
forward,
vote.
I look forward to serving as your chair for the next year.
Probably ought to have a vote, Gary.
Mr. Chair, do we
okay.
need a vote?
Yes, we do. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if did we have a second also? Did we have a second, Vicky?
Mr. Costin?
Oh, okay, okay. I just wanted to make sure, okay.
I guess we better make it official. Can we have a roll call vote on approving of the officers that were nominated?
Yes. Ms. Herzog?
Yes.
Commissioner Charles?
Yes.
Costin?
With great pleasure, yes.
LaFontaine?
Yes.
Long?
Yes,
McGilvery?
Yes.
Nash?
Yes.
Quarles?
Yes.
Vanderveen?
Yes.
And Bagley?
Yes.
The slate of officers is approved 10-0.
Thank you.
congratulations to the three of you.
Thank you. Thank you. At this point in time, we have a new member sitting on our board. She was elected commissioner at the Board of Commissioners, and she's now our one of the Democratic representatives on this board. So Yolanda, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from and who you represent?
Thank you. I will start by saying this agenda is longer than both my committee agendas from earlier today. So I said, what has Gary gotten me into? But I'm Yolanda Charles. I follow in the huge footsteps of Dr. Nancy Quarles, who was the commissioner before me. I am a product of the city of Southfield, a product of Southfield Public Schools. I come from the school board portion of government, so I served for 10 years as a trustee on the Southfield Board of Ed, where I learned a lot. And so I look forward to, as LeBron James once said, taking my talents to South Beach. However, is Oakland County. And I'm one who likes to observe and report. I love to look at things from the 20,000-foot view, see what's going on, and over time be able to throw a couple of ideas your way. So at this point, I'm looking forward to just learning and gleaning from you. So thank you for the floor, Chairman.
Thank you, Yolanda, and welcome aboard.
Welcome.
And our other person she's still here, but in the same capacity, or a different capacity. She'll be representing the Road Commission, Mr. Jamian's old spot on the Parks Board. So Nancy will be back serving another term. Nancy, anything you'd like to say?
Again, I just appreciate being back on the Parks and Rec Commission. And of course, everyone knows that I'm here to protect the golfers and the golf course.
Okay, thanks. Okay, the next item we have is presentations. Dan?
Yes, I am pleased to announce and accept the National Association of Counties gave an award to the Red Oaks Nature Center for its storybook trail. And we received the Achievement Award that you see there in front of you. This took a team effort that started off with a $3,000 Healthy Recreation Catalyst Award from the Michigan Recreation and Parks Association in a collaboration with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan and the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. Again, our staff with their creative talents made those $3,000 go quite far. And through the efforts of John Noyes and our principal artist, Garrett Ebling. And then the creative team was also supported by park naturalist Sarah Hudson, recreation supervisor Mary Blumka, and the whole nature education team. Also, Brandy Boyd was very instrumental in this project with Matt Pardee, the park supervisor, and Ryan Dinescu, the assistant park supervisor. In the future, we hope to duplicate this effort at Independence Oaks Nature Center and develop a inventory of children's storybooks that we can rotate from time to time. So it'll have some dynamics to it that it will be able to change from time to time. So with that, I'm very pleased to recognize these staff for an outstanding effort in receiving this achievement award from the National Association of Counties.
Very good.
Congrats.
To the employees, they're not on our meeting right now, but congratulations and thank you for doing a great job. And in that I live right around the corner from Red Oaks Nature Center. I've seen the plaques and they're something to see. So if you get a chance, go over there.
Yeah, and we have our annual staff meeting that will be a series of videos that will recognize these staff members as well.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, next on the agenda is recognition of Parks Commission members that will be leaving us. Mr. Greg Jamian. If I can, I'm going to read his plaque. The Oakland County Parks and Recreation Commission and staff thanks Greg Jamian for service to the residents of Oakland County as a Parks Commissioner representing the Road Commission for Oakland County. During 2020, he saw the opening of long-awaited Holly Oaks ORV Park, as well as approved for the first ever increase in the park's millage. Dedication of a walking path and soccer fields at Catalpa Oaks. Progress at Normandy Oaks development, which will be open this year in the spring. Mr. Jamian's support and dedication to the park system and programs through the years have been truly appreciated by staff, and his contribution will be enjoyed for generations to come. We thankfully, we are thankful for his leadership and grateful for his friendship. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Would you like to make any comments?
Yeah, just real quickly. I have a nice place in my office for that plaque. And, you know, it's a lovely plaque, and I just want to thank everybody that I worked with over the years and been around for a while, off and on the board, and it's really one of the most pleasurable types of work I've done in a long time. As many of you know, I run a business in Troy, Michigan, a healthcare business. Even though the parks, I have to go back to comment that Dave Vanderveen made back in 2006 to me when he said, Greg, welcome welcome to the Department of Fun, is what he said. Well, what I started finding out is that these packets that I were getting in the mail that I had to read through, they weren't so much fun. There was a lot of work there, but it was all work that I enjoyed doing. And Dan, David, Chris, Gary, all the others, I really appreciate and Jim, I really appreciate all the time I spent at the parks and working on projects that benefited the community. So thank you very much and good luck to you all.
Yep.
Thank you, Greg.
Greg was on the commission 3 different times, so I think he holds the record for that category.
Christine?
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to thank Greg. We started, 2000, maybe the first year, the 2002, Greg, when you were first commissioner. Were you in
Yes.
that big class of 2002? So I've worked with them off and on a lot of years now, and you're an excellent parks member, and you are an excellent road commissioner. I just want to thank you for your public service and wish you good luck.
Thank you, Chris. I also worked with Jim. One last thing, I'd like to be contacted in the future for philanthropy or donations where it's appropriate. Park bench here and there, I'd like to donate some money because I really felt that I got a lot of benefit myself, and I saw the benefit that the community enjoyed from all the work that everybody collectively does. So I'll be in contact with you, Dan.
Thanks, Greg. And I also want to thank you for your dedicated work both here and at the Road Commission. And I just want to say that I owe you lunch. I've been trying to do that, but the restaurants are all closed up. So when they open up, expect a phone call.
I'll take care. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dave?
I just wanted to thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you, and we haven't seen the end of each other yet. I'll be seeing you on the trail.
Oh, good. I hope so.
Okay, we'll move on now to communications. We have one item, capital improvement expense summary. Jeff, do you want to explain anything?
Sure. Actually, we had a revision on page 23, agenda item number 9. There are actually 2 items on today's agenda that require additional funding from unrestricted. The first is item 11B on page 67 for a well replacement for $173,202. In addition, we added under item 13A, old business, the need for $2,135 for a mobile diesel generator replacement. And additionally, as of October 31st, your unrestricted net position balance is 18.1 million. And also, fiscal is still catching up as far as reporting goes. So we hope next month you'll have both the November and December statements. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll move it.
Moved by Amanda, supported by Constant. Motion's been made to receive and file. We guess we need a roll call. Vicky?
Before we take the vote here.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, before the vote, what was that page number you referenced? It was in the hundreds.
The page is 23 of the communication item. The first item, the well replacement, is on page 67. And I don't have the page number for item 13A.
That was sent out in the revised document. Roll call for the communications. Commissioner Charles. Commissioner Charles?
Yes.
Okay. Costin?
Yes.
Fontaine?
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Vanderveen,
Yes.
Bagley,
Yes.
Herzog.
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you. Next, we go to the regular agenda. We have item A, which is the road commission for Oakland County easements for Independence Oaks for a roundabout project at Oak Hill and Sashbaugh.
I think we need to do consent agenda. We did communication.
Need consent.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You're absolutely right. I'm trying to get through this quick, I guess, huh? Next is the consent agenda. We have items A through J. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move
Moved by
A
Long.
through J. Yeah, I'll move A through J.
Long moves it. Nash supports it. Is there any questions or discussion on the consent agenda?
Oh, Gary.
Go ahead, Dave.
Is there anything new on Catherine's and Fuller Oak management operations? Anything updating we should know there?
Bill?
Phil, you're gonna talk about that on the regular agenda, are you, Phil?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because that's what I was gonna pull off, but there's a item, agenda item. Sorry, Gary.
That's all right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, can we have a vote, please, Vicky?
Yes. Commissioner Costin,
Yes.
LaFontaine,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Vanderveen,
Yes.
Bagley,
Yes.
Herzog,
Yes.
and Charles.
Yes.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you. Next, we go to the regular agenda. Item A, which is the road commission easement at Independence Oaks for the roundabout at Oak Hill and Sashbaugh. Melissa, are you there? You are.
I am.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about this?
I will do so. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year. So this is a request from the Road Commission for two easements, both a temporary construction easement and a permanent highway easement at the corner of Oak Hill and Sashbaugh Road, which if you look at page 54 of your agenda, you can kind of see the project location and where that is within Independence Oaks. It is the very top northeast corner of the park, where the Oak Hill House currently sits, if you're familiar with that portion of the park. So there's also a map on page 56 of your agenda that shows the two easements. The yellow is the temporary construction easement for staging and construction, and then the red is that permanent highway easement. It amounts to about 1/10 of an acre. It's relatively small. It's in that corner of the park that right now, because of the Oak Hill House being there and just the location, is not really accessed by the public, so it's not going to have any negative impact on our use of the park. And timing wise, just to give you a heads up, we are looking at the removal of that Oak Hill House this spring before this project gets started, so that when they put the fence back around our property, when they're done, they can seal up that corner of the park for us, and the house will be removed. So this is actually creating a conversion because the property is grant funded by the trust fund. But we've already been in talks with the DNR about it, and they are going to allow us to wrap this conversion of this tiny little piece into our conversion mitigation for the Bailey House. We had some additional funding available in that mitigation, so we'll roll it right into that, and it won't affect us in the future for any grant applications. So this project, I think, is slated to start in July, and if these are approved today by the commission, then they'll go over to the Board of Commissioners for approval.
Are there any questions or comments? Nancy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I attended my first road commission meeting and this came up for discussion. And the question, and let me be real clear. This was my first road commission meeting and I don't have the background on this project. It appears that the question that came up was, why do we need a roundabout there? And listening to what you just explained, it sounds like the road commission asked for this to be done. I guess I'm getting a little confused.
Yeah, so the road commission came to us. It's a roundabout at the intersection of Oak Hill and Sashabaw Road. So it's just outside the park boundary, right at that corner of the park there. Our understanding is that it is a high crash intersection and that they're hoping that the roundabout will create a safer intersection there.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Is there any further discussion?
Melissa, is,
Yolanda?
oh,
Go ahead.
Thank
Yolanda?
you. Yeah, I dropped my mouse. I'm back. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Pearls. I'm glad to hear that aspect. I wanted to check also on in terms of tree displacement. Does the Parks Committee have like a tree displacement policy? And I was just curious if we're displacing trees with this.
We don't particularly have a policy. I don't know, Mike, if you're on, if you know more detail about the construction, if they're going to be replacing any trees. I actually don't know that detail.
First off, this is Mike Donnellan. Welcome to the commission, Ms. Charles. The trees that you see, the vegetation along Oak Hill, are going to be basically cut out of the way for this project from what I've seen on the construction plans. We do not have a replacement program. However, we do have a forestry program that we plant trees every year with. We remove hazardous trees, we plant trees. So we do that, but in this case, there is no replacement trees in lieu of the removed trees.
Thank you.
Amanda?
Just to piggyback off the tree conversation, with the forestry policy
You're
that you
cutting out a
have,
little bit, Mike.
oh, sorry. Do you keep track of like the percentage of trees that you cut down versus what you plant to keep a record of that?
Yeah, actually we do. And in fact, in today's commission meeting, towards the end of the report, you'll see the natural resource reports, the written report, and you'll see the trees that were hazardous trees removed. You also see trees that are planted over the last 3-4 years that we've been keeping track of that, or since the forestry program has been in existence, really. Sarah Cook-Malin, our natural resource coordinator, manages all that, along with her crews. Luke Murchie is our certified arborist on board, and they've been increasing that program as best they can as budget allows.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? I have a question for Melissa or Mr. Donlin, whoever. First of all, do you have any idea what the traffic counts are on those two roads at that intersection?
No, I do not. Living out here in this area, I know it's pretty high volume there.
There is there are records for that we could provide you with. There has been several fatal casualties at that location, and that happens to be in the corridor that I take to get to work. So I can tell you it is well traveled.
Okay. Yeah, if you could give me that information. I'd also like to know what the total cost of this project is.
I think it's 1.35 million.
Yeah, I'd like to see the report on accidents there, as well as the total cost. So, Dave.
My recollection is that that's a 4-way stop now. Is that correct, Melissa?
Yes.
It is now.
Yeah. And are there problems with the sight triangles there, the vision of intersecting roads?
Yes, I think that is the main problem, yeah.
That would be my suspicion. Okay, thank you.
Christine?
Okay, so I know on this, we're just, thank you, Gary. So I know on this, we're just voting on the easements for road commission. However, Gary brings a good point about the money. Do any of us know if this is tri-party funds from the community? And then maybe if Nancy Quarles can find out the crash report or something. I don't know, how many crashes are there. But I know we're not voting on the project in whole, we're just voting for the easement, I believe. But I just wondered if anyone knew that if they're using tri-party or how this was being paid for.
Do you know, Mike? I'm not sure.
No, when I talked to the engineers, it was federal dollars. I don't know if it was tri-party that was involved in that too. So we can definitely find that information out.
Thank you. It doesn't affect, I know, am I right, Melissa? We're just voting on giving the easements to the road commission. So, I mean, it's
Yeah,
kind of,
that's
we really are voting on the project as a whole. And so that's Commissioner Quarles. That's Commissioner Quarles up there from the road commission. So, and then it goes to the board of commissioners, I'm sure. So thank you.
Okay. We need a motion to approve. Anyone like to make that motion? Amanda, is there support? Christine? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Commissioner LaFontaine,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
McGilvray,
No.
Nash. Nash? Did we lose Mr. Manash?
I think we did. I don't see him on there.
Okay, I'll come back around. Quarles,
No.
Intervene,
Yes.
Bagley,
No.
Herzog,
No.
Charles,
No.
Austin.
Yes.
Motion failed.
Okay, the motion fails.
Commissioner,
Yes.
can we, would you want us to have a representation of the road commission staff to attend the next commission meeting, or if this comes back up at a future date?
Okay, why don't we have it on the next agenda and have a representative there so they can go over that? Christine?
Okay.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, if we don't approve this, I think the road commission can take it. I think, correct, Melissa? I mean, they do eminent domain, they do, if you don't approve something, that's what we always get threatened when we don't want to sell a little piece or let them go over so many feet for the roundabout on our piece of property. They just say, oh, they'll just take you, they'll just take it. So I'm just wondering, I definitely think we need it on the agenda.
They definitely could do that. I don't think that they would ever want to do that, which is obviously why they come forward with the easements. We can definitely invite them to the next meeting. They are on a very tight timetable, and I know we're hoping for this approval today so they could move forward. But if that is not the case, then we can make sure that it's on next month's agenda and have them at the meeting.
Okay, I just wanted to tell people, if they didn't know that I don't think they would do that politically, but they could do that. So thank you.
Nancy?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the question is the roundabout and the need for the roundabout. So I think it would be a great idea if we did further discussion on this.
Okay, thanks. I too agree. That's why I voted no, and that I'm just not convinced that it's currently stop signs there now, and a traffic light might be better. And that's certainly far less than $1 million to build a roundabout. So, I think it's worth discussion, and so that's why I brought it up. Okay, we'll move on to the next item, the CIP maintenance project approval, Springfield Oaks Activity Center water system emergency well replacement. Zach or Mike, who's ever discussing that.
Yeah, good afternoon, Zach. I'll take this one. Starting page 67, this is the agenda for the new water system well, the well replacement at Springfield Oaks. As some of the commission recalls, we completed a water quality project last year, installing a water circulation system to eliminate water quality issues experienced on the grounds and facilities at Springfield Oaks Activity Center and the fairgrounds. As we were wrapping up that project in September of 2020, staff discovered a valve issue, which led to the discovery that our 50-year-old well was pumping sand particles into the new water system. Just to note, as part of the design process back in 2017, we did test that well and found no issues at that time. So after review, we're recommending to drill a new well at a deeper depth and include a stainless steel screen on that well. Some of the pumping equipment and other items we can remove and reinstall on this new well that we drill. Total cost of the project would also include abandonment of the existing well, testing and reconnecting the well to this new water circulation system, flushing, cleaning, and sanitizing the new system as well. And as part of this recommendation, we'd also like approval to proceed, if need be, with the installation of a water centrifugal filtration system in the event that the new well testing doesn't pass a sand particle test. So this would allow for our project to continue on, and we could report this back to the commission at a later date. On page 68, there's the funding portion. This project was not obviously budgeted in the capital program for this year. We did have some favorability in the program. So that's why we're asking for a lower amount than the total project costs, as Jeff had mentioned, with the unrestricted funding. And then alternate A, you see that filtration system, it's around $23,000. So we're asking to, if need be during construction, to proceed with that amount and then report back at a later date. So staff recommends awarding a contract change order to Frank Rewald and Sons for the new well, not to exceed amount of $210,000 for a total project cost of $223,202. Staff also further recommends the funding come from unrestricted net position, the amount of $173,202. And then staff also recommends that we receive contingent approval for the filtration system. And we would report back on that at a future meeting. Just to note, the breakdown of bids you can find on page 73. There is a component of well drilling, earthwork, plumbing, and electrical as part of this project, as well as the cleaning and testing, as I mentioned previously. We do have our engineer and a representative from Frank Rewald on the phone if you have any other questions.
Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, let's take, go ahead, Yolanda, I'm sorry I missed you.
Thank you. I want to make sure I heard you correctly, Zach. You said that there were evidence of sand that you saw. Could you just speak a little bit about, was it a process we have in place that allowed us to catch that early? Was it something that we would have liked to have caught before certain things happened? And then the last question is, when we talk about our bidding and the contractors, I guess what I'm looking for is to see if we are focused on contractors from Oakland County or if they can be from anywhere.
Yeah, I'll answer the bidding question first. So, you know, all of our larger projects go through Oakland County purchasing. We do have construction management annual contracts as that are through the Oakland County as well. So those allow for us to do large scale projects with multiple trades, like I mentioned. Even though those contracts get awarded to our construction managers, they are still required by purchasing to bid out all those trades. So we have nothing in purchasing that requires us to use only Oakland County vendors, but you know, we always try to look at that, but it's not a requirement. I don't know if our Andy Crumwoody is on from purchasing, if I didn't clarify that enough for you, or if there's any other thing to add.
Yeah, that's sufficient for that. Thank you.
Okay. And then Tom, from HRC, Hubble, Roth and Clark, is our engineer. Maybe he can speak on the question regarding the sand. We currently don't have a circulation system in the park system right now. So this was something new for us, but Tom's got plenty of experience with municipal water systems. The reason we found the issue was with this valve, it was stopping and not automatically opening. So that's how we found the particles in the system. All the testing during the design process indicated that there wasn't any sand, so we didn't perceive this issue when we were designing for it.
This is Tom Lacrosse, Roth and Clark. Yeah, when the valve closure problem started to develop, we noticed by putting some lines that found a sand in the lines, and there's no place for the sand to get in because we have a completely sealed distribution system that's been pressure tested and was maintaining pressure. So the next thing is we recommended to the county, they hired a contractor to come in and they run a special test on the well, and it's known as the Rossman sand test. And it proved that the sand was actually coming out of the well. Very fine sand, but the screen at the very bottom, almost 300 feet down, is not stopping to come through. So there's no retrofit that can be done to the well. Like Zach mentioned, the original well, almost 50 years old. To have that retrofit and still supply the water that is necessary for the park. Therefore, we need to drill a new well with a, again, design screen for the platform of sand that it enters into. And then proceed with reconstruction. We have to clean all the equipment that's inside the building. That's part of this cost, not just the well, it's actually cleaning all the equipment that's in the building that we had just built, and flushing all the lines we built to make sure there's no sand left in it when we're done with this job. That's all included in rechlorinating all the lines and getting all the government testing done that's required to make it operational again. That helps?
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Tom.
No problem.
Is there any other questions or discussion? Dave?
We've spent a lot of time, effort, and money, seems like to me, on water on Springfield Oaks. We've had the tower issue out there, now the well issue. Is this going to take care of our water problems? Are we done with this project?
Yes, I believe so. The well or the power issue was fixed with this water system of circulation. We were very disappointed to find out that we had an issue with the well after we've gone through this, but I think we have the best solution now, and I don't see another issue with the amount of time and energy and money we've spent out there.
Okay.
I concur that sentiment, Mr. Vanderveen, in regards to that. I've been working on these projects since 2003 with water out there, and this is hopefully the last time we'll ever have to deal with water.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Zach, I have a question for you. On page 74 of the agenda, it shows that all the bidders that for this project, Lalonde, Eagle Excavating, Lee Contracting, and Advantage Electrical. I guess my question is, that total of all those contractors adds up to $117,245, but yet the overall cost is $223,000. So that means $100,000 is going to Rewall, Hubble, Clark, and Roth. Who is that going to?
Yeah, so on page 75, you're right, the trades equal out to 117, and if you look on page 75, you see a list of allowances. So there's some ashfall work, there's some other things that are within Rewald's contract that are allowances. So those are we hold back to potentially use, but we may not use. There's a CM contingency, so that's our project contingency if we need to use that. There's a straight CM fee, which is what their contract is for using them. The CM staffing is again another allowance that they can't use up to that amount. So it's just a breakdown of what's like their overhead and their in the Rewald contract. So it's really our contingencies and then Rewald's general conditions to complete the project.
Okay, thanks. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
We need a motion, Mr. McGilvery.
I'm sorry, we have a motion. Moved by Amanda, supported by Quarles. Now we'll have a roll call vote.
Okay. Commissioner LaFontaine,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes,
Nash, Quarles,
Yes.
Vanderveen,
Yes.
Bagley,
Yes.
Herzog,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Costin.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is C, proposed revisions of the Parks volunteer policy. Phil, are you the one taking care of this?
I'm taking care of this one. Good afternoon. What we have in front of us is a updated volunteer policy, which is a commission approved policy. And the major changes are changing our rewards and recognition structure to our volunteers. After meeting with Corporation Counsel, our previous structure was not in compliance. So the historical model of paying, or not paying, but compensating or rewarding a volunteer on a points per hour basis is too much like an employee-employer relationship. So we've had to change our reward and recognition model away from a points per hour system. So that's what's being changed in the policy. We'll be working more on a benefits-based recognition system for our golf course volunteers for some open golf course times, and the same for the campgrounds. And then for our other volunteers, we're looking at potentially annual vehicle permits for them after they've volunteered a certain set number of hours, and also trying to get back once some of these COVID restrictions lift into like a summer recognition cookout picnic for our volunteers, or a recognition luncheon of some point throughout the year. So those will help put us in compliance with the Corporation Counsel recommendations and allow us to change the policy.
Christine.
Thank you, Gary. Phil, so I get it. I understand why you did the point per hour basis. That makes sense to me, because you get more points when you work more. So you can, so if someone had 100 volunteer hours, you can still kind of say that person had 100, this person had 5, and give them a different benefit with the new system.
Yeah, the hours will still be tracked. We have specialized software that will track our volunteer hours on where they work and volunteer, how many hours they're putting in, because there is a value to that, and we will continue to report on that. It won't be a direct benefit for the number of hours worked and points like there used to be.
Okay, but you could still give someone, I hate to see the people that volunteer endless hours not get a little more than someone that volunteers 2 hours. So you can still decide on what benefit that would be without saying, hey, you got this many points, correct? Is there some lenience in that way?
Yes. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
David?
Phil, is good question. I understand the rationale behind it. Have we got any reaction from the volunteers? Is this going to help or harm our getting volunteer services?
We haven't widely broadcasted out yet, just because it was all internal discussion, and until this commission approves it, it's not policy. Part of it is we don't have a lot of choice. This is what we have to do to continue using volunteers. The whole goal of a volunteer is doing it to give back and not necessarily receive something in return. We feel like we've got a good program that will still allow us to utilize volunteers in the places needed, i.e. the golf courses, campgrounds, nature centers, that we always have.
with still some type of recognition. I guess time will tell how this change in the policy will affect our numbers, but we're confident we will be able to retain and still grow the program.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Phil, I will note that a few years back, I remember some volunteers that were very unhappy when we reduced it the last time. And I got an earful, both in emails as well as phone calls. I hope that we can avoid that. And I understand that this is something you say we have to do, but it just worries me that we're gonna lose a lot of volunteers who kind of depend on those free nights of camping and free rounds of golf and so forth. So just want to express my concern.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
I need a motion.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Amanda. Moved by Amanda, supported by Ebony. Vote, please.
Okay. Commissioner McGilvery,
Yes.
Nash, Quarles,
Yes.
Vanderveen,
Yes.
Bagley,
Yes.
Herzog,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Costin,
Yes.
LaFontaine,
Yes.
and Long.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to item D, recommendation on proposal for the consultant for golf operations. Sue? Sue, are you there?
I move it, Mr. Chair.
Okay, is there support? Supported by Ebony. And there's Sue.
Just one moment. I thought Phil was on the list, but I can be more than happy to do it. We have did RFPs for, as we brought up earlier at our previous meeting on golf operations. We did receive bids on these. It was set out competitively. The bids were reviewed by staff, as well as they were reviewed and graded by staff, as well as they were reviewed by Dan and Mr. Vanderveen. And those two did not grade them, but we wanted their input. And what we would like to do, the overall scope of this was to evaluate in a pretty timely fashion our golf operations, our organizational structure, our marketing, our rates, our what we are charging, and start the evaluation process so we can use this information for the 2021 season. The prices were all over the board, but we're happy with our recommendation, and we're recommending Golf Convergence. The owner of that is JJ Keegan, and he has done several golf courses across the United States. He evaluated the city of Ann Arbor's golf courses, and it is his major focus of business is golf course operations. The amount is not to exceed $23,250. And staff is recommending that amount. And I know Commissioner Vanderveen is working with Sean Carlson. And I don't mean to put Dave on the spot in regards to money from economic development.
Well, but you are. I'm glad to respond. Yes, he's trying to find the monies in the executive budget to help us out with this effort. even if he didn't succeed, I think it's well worth it. You know, we lost over $500,000 in golf last year. Of course, we had a late start. We had expenses that we've never had before, but we also had a banner season. But I think the small amount of money we will be putting into this effort, if necessary, I think we're still going to get the executive funds. It would be well worth it to cut in. This study will pay for itself, I think, this year. So Sue, I guess that's an answer to your point, but go ahead.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
Chris?
Thank you, Gary. I am much more surprised, and I'm pleasantly surprised at this, of the cost of $23,250. I wasn't really in favor of this in the first place. I'm kind of a little resistant to consulting fees and stuff, but the price tag on this seems well worth it for our season last year. And Gary will know too, and Nancy Quarles, our consulting fees at the county lately have been huge. So when they get in the millions, it's, you know, but this seems like it's well worth it. If we can, it seems like we would gain that money back if we can run the golf courses more efficiently. So I will support this. Thank you.
Nancy?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. The consultant, and certainly last year, 2020 was a year that was different. It certainly wasn't our norm. A couple questions I do have, and I do support having a consultant. Will this person also be looking at the use of our banquet halls, I should say, and other operations and golf courses our size? Is he well familiar with that and have done work in those areas?
Your first question in regards to banquet facilities, we did have a initial conversation with JJ Keegan, and his background is not banquets centers. He does have background in pro shops and golf outings and tournaments as they relate to banquet facilities. But, you know, that would not, I would characterize it as that is not his major focus or expertise, but he does have that information. Currently, the way we did this RFP was in 2 phases, and this is the first phase. We may be happy with the information at the end of phase 1. And phase 2 was to come out to our facilities, look at our site, make any recommendations to our operations, but that's not included in phase 1. So we're focusing strictly on phase 1 right at this time.
Yeah, in phase 1, just concentrate on looking at the operations, right?
It will focus on our point of sale system, our marketing, which is huge. It's a very competitive business. Our organizational structure for golf. They will be interviewing staff to get information on. How should we historically as an organization have always said to, been directed is we don't want to undercut the private business by, you know, lowering our rate, but then we don't want our rates too high. Well, so we averaged in the middle, but a consequence of that is, can we be generating more revenue at certain peak times? So I think this gives us the opportunity to refocus, you know, how should we be charging, you know, just prime time. You're a golfer, you know, if you want to golf Sunday morning, it's a lot more than at 3 o'clock when it's 90 degrees on a hot day. So hopefully it can, with help from an expert, it will be able to give us that flexibility and show us that flexibility of what we can do.
Thank you.
Yolanda.
Thank you. I appreciate the report from the folks who put this together. I want to go on record and just say that sometimes it's a tail wag the dog situation where you want lots of diversity in your folks who you bring before us. And as you can see, this particular company has one woman in the executive suite, and I don't see any people of color. So I just want to articulate that, again, it's a tail wag the dog thing, because sometimes those folks are not running those types of businesses. But I'd be remiss if I didn't at least articulate my desire as we move forward together. And just wanted to say that. But overall, I definitely think consultants are important. I think the cost for what we're getting is very fair. So I'll definitely be supportive of it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Any further discussion?
Just one comment, Gary, if I may.
David.
In addition to them being the lowest cost firm, and Sue mentioned that Dan and I both had looked at the proposals. In my mind, there's no question that this company best captured the needs that we had. Not only is the low cost, but I think they really understand the essence of our problems.
Okay.
I think they're also very nimble and are going to be able to hit the ground running and provide us with that input that we need, because we still would like to have some flexibility on our fees for this season.
Okay. I have one question, and that is when we initially talked about this, is this firm that we're awarding the bid to the same one that we had talked to in the past?
It turned out to be the same company. Yes.
Okay. All right. Any further discussions or questions? Hearing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Commissioner Nash? Quarles?
Yes.
Vanderveen?
Yes.
Bagley?
Yes.
Herzog?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Austin?
I'm going to say yes. We've had an awful lot of consultants in my many years on the board, but it seems to me like this one is appropriate and necessary, so my vote is yes.
LaFontaine?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Yes.
McGilvery?
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Thank you, Vicky. Next, we have item E, which is an update on contracted conference center financial situation. Phil.
So back in front of you again. I was in front of you back in the spring with the request from Oak Management, so I'll just go back and saying that that's still unresolved on the table. And while we're back again, just to remind you of that, we also have a new request from Catherine's Catering that is in the packet. Theirs is a little different, but it is requesting an actual waiving of owed monies. They had requested a deferment last year of their previous utility bills that they were paying monthly on it, and we deferred those to start back up in 2021. Well, with the expanse of COVID keeping everything shut down, now they are requesting actually waiving of their remaining balance, which is in the packet. Remaining balance of $6,886.40 is what they have left that they were still paying on. So this is a large scale memo that was put together with the original details of both requests from both vendors, where we're at today at the end of the 2020 fiscal year. As it was mentioned that something should be sent to the Board of Commissioners as an FYI. So I did this memo as an introduction back to this board that could then essentially be forwarded to the board as an FYI, but also knowing that at some point we still need to come to a resolution on these. They're on the books as receivables right now, and the Board of Commissioners is the only one who can make that determination on forgiving any debt owed to the county. So that's where we're at. I'll open it up for questions or any other details that people want me to talk about.
Christine?
Thank you. So I talked to Chairman Woodward about it, just so he would be kept abreast. But what's Oak Management's, what do they owe right now? Phil, I'm sorry, I can't open another screen to get on that agenda right this second.
No
My
worries.
internet, so what are they owe?
So this is as of September 30th, their outstanding debt was $198,848.76. I will say that,
Right, like you say, that November, December, $250,000.
yeah, I mean, we're up.
You think we're
We
a
have,
$250,000?
October, November, December utilities that will be going on the books here shortly. So, not to say that there is obviously some level of forgiveness we can give. We just have to determine what that is. But until then, we put everything on the books as it is by contract right now.
Okay, and I think that we have to come up with something sooner better than later. I know the COVID was hard. I'm wondering if we can get any, and which I said this before, we need to see PPP loans, because those PPP loans, I was talking to Gary about it, are for rent and leases. And Oak Management, I believe, got one. I found one online. It's public record when you get one. So I just want to, I'm not saying that I'm not in favor of forgiving something, but I don't see how we can forgive the whole fund when these are public dollars and tax dollars, and this is a private business. And I get it; they do an excellent job, both of them. But I think we need to come up with some fair formula with the Board of Commissioners and our board, and kind of move on this quicker, sooner better than later, because it's just going to keep going up, and I don't want a greenhouse situation. So, we're almost getting into, I think. So. I'm worried about the timeliness of it. I think we got to kind of come up with a solution fairly quick. Thank you.
And this memo does state from each vendor what financial assistance they've requested and applied for and what they've received, because I know that is a normal question. So that is in the memo as well. And maybe to your point, maybe it is a cross representation of staff, Parks Commissioners and Board of Commissioners with a little work group to come up with a solution and negotiate with these vendors.
Right, because it ultimately, Phil, it has to go, after it goes out of Parks, it goes to the Board of Commissioners, correct?
Absolutely, yep.
So we might want to put some kind of group together and start moving on it, because I just feel like it's just going to go, I mean, I don't know when they're going to, even if things open back up again, how many people are going to book banquets right away? How many people? So this is going to be a continual problem, probably. I personally wouldn't book a wedding this year, if it was me. There's too much uncertainty, but or event, a big, large event. But so I'm thinking other people are like me. So this is going to go on for a while. So I think sooner better than later, and maybe get a group together from both boards or something.
This will be one of the last businesses to rebound back, and they are both shut down for this whole winter off season. They've shuttered operations, and we've tailored our utilities to match that, but we can't shut them off completely. So,
hey, Yolanda,
I just wanted to clarify the 276,000 that it says that they received in terms of PPP. Are we subtracting, or just in our minds? I heard $250,000. Are we thinking, they've totaled up about maybe $250,000? Does that mean they have 16,000 that is reserved for this purpose, or is that not included in that amount?
no, I mean, those are very separate amounts. We're stating what is owed to us. They've just informed us what they requested and received. That money could all be gone to pay their other expenses. We don't know how they spent their PPP money.
any other questions?
Yolanda, I was just guessing about $250,000. That's where that number came from, because I was just trying to guess September, October, or October, November, December utilities. So that was a guess number, my 225. I was just guessing that.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or discussion? Bob?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. For our new members on the board, I have been involved with the question that we're discussing right now. Sat at with Oak Management and their owners and Phil and Dan and most of the staff. And I think for the new people here, they might not know that Oak Management has probably been the very first of all of the businesses that Parks have been involved with. And if I say 30 years, Phil, I'm hoping I'm not wrong because it's way before I got on the board. And so they've always paid their money on time. We did an audit a few years ago and found that except for maybe not counting the hat check girls' tips, that they were absolutely 100% correct in the audit. And when we had our meeting seeking a deferral for Oak Management, I learned, as did everybody else there, that Oak Management returned 100% of the deposits that they had for virtually a whole year's weddings. And so besides COVID, returning all the deposits, they have been a long-standing, excellent partner and contract with us. And I think you should keep that in mind as we're going forward in this matter, because I think they're really worth keeping if somehow and saving it if there's a way to do it. Thank you.
Any further debate? Dan, go ahead.
Yes, I was just going to comment that Oak Management has been with Oakland County Parks since 1974. And at that time, they had an exclusive contract for all of our food and beverage operations. And through the years, we've evolved where our staff does limited food and beverage for golf operations, grill rooms, as well as our water parks and campground.
Okay. Bill, I have a question. What does Catherine's owe right now?
The Catherine's contract is very different because they're paying us just commissions. When we rebid that facility, they went down to just doing the banquets and they pay us a 10% commission on each banquet. So we're getting paid every time they have a banquet. What they owe us for is the $6,800 was outstanding utilities. Back when they originally got a contract with us, when they were doing banquets and the grill rooms, they were responsible for utilities. At that point, when we changed over and we took over the grill rooms and left them with just the banquets, they had an outstanding debt for utilities and they were doing a monthly payment with us to pay us back. So they've been doing that until COVID hit. So the amount we're talking with them is just under $6,900 of outstanding debt that they're requesting forgiveness on.
Okay.
Commissioner
All right,
McGilvery,
Yes.
but just for clarification and education, the Catherine's and Oaks, we really can't compare apples to apples because Catherine's brings in the food. They don't utilize the kitchen, where Oak Management prepares the food on site. They have an office there on site. So it's more of a full catering service. Catherine's used to be on site, but they're no longer on site. They just bring it in.
Okay. Any further questions? I'll just make a comment. I'm a little upset with the fact that they owe that much money, Oak Management I'm talking, and that they got a $223,000 PPP grant. And then now they want to be bailed out. So I'm a little concerned. I guess what I would ask at this point is to, Phil, if you can do a good, precise report, and Chris and I will work with the commissioners, and we'll try to set up some kind of meeting where we can sit down and discuss this and come to a compromise where we can do some kind of a settlement.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this agenda item, if everyone is in agreement, is the information without going into lots of pages of extra detail. This is my summary. What I'll work on is just, we should here in the next week or two have our first quarter utilities that we can just add on. So we have a more accurate updated total for Oak Management. And then we can go from there.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. Just let me know when you want me to try to schedule a meeting and I'll be happy to do that.
Will do.
Okay. Okay, next we move on to reports. Fiscal Sustainability Work Group. Sue?
We kind of segue from conference centers to fiscal sustainability. Just for our new commissioner, fiscal sustainability is a committee that we set up to evaluate programs, facilities, and services we provide. And are we at the point where we get rid of programs, get rid of facilities, repurpose them? So we've been meeting for the last couple years. We do have a meeting that we had to reschedule because of board commitments, and it is going to be on Monday, the 25th at 1:30. And coming to that meeting will be Waterford Oaks Water Park evaluation. We also will be bringing up the golf RFP, briefly touching on our busing program. So we hope to have things for you at the February meeting, an update on that. So, any questions?
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the Natural Resources 2020 report. Sarah, are you on?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
Great. So this is just a summary of the work that we completed in 2020. I give another update in summer, usually in August, detailing how natural resources works, but this is kind of just a numbers report of the work that we accomplished last year. It should look fairly similar to years past. However, with reduced staffing and budgets this year, we did decrease in some areas like stump grinding or tree removals, but I think we largely kept pace with years past. Are there any questions?
Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, thank you, Sarah. We appreciate the report.
Gary?
We'll move on. Oh, I'm sorry, David, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I just had I think a tangential question. What's the status of the oak wilt problem we've been having?
Yeah, great question. We still have oak wilt and we still have new sites that we're finding of oak wilt. Last year, because we had fewer forestry staff, we only had one forestry staff other than Luke Murchie, our full-time forester. So we just did much reduced surveying last year. So we think we have new sites and we're hoping to survey this year to see where those sites have grown. But honestly, we don't know if we have new sites. We managed all of the sites that we currently have. So we're keeping up with what we know about, but with reduced staff last year, we just couldn't survey from new locations.
Are we making progress, Sarah?
I want to say yes. I don't know. I think that we'll survey this year to determine if we're making progress. We're certainly making progress on the sites that we're managing. We're seeing that those sites are under control largely in the areas where we're able to do control. There's a few sites that are too remote for us to do control. We can't get equipment into them, so we're just monitoring them. So in the places where we can apply management, they are improving. But I mean, oak wilt is systemic, and depending on how other people are managing their sites and how we manage our sites, we could have a lot more sites this year or a lot fewer. We just don't know until we get people out in the parks looking.
Thank you. I appreciate your candor.
Thanks for your report, Sarah.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to the executive officer's report. Ann?
Okay, if you would like to refer to pages 152 to 206. Yes? If you'd like to refer to pages 152 to 206, upcoming events are on page 155. The next commission meeting is going to be February 3rd at 2 p.m. The next executive committee meeting will be this coming Tuesday, January 19th at 1 p.m. We did allude to the Oak Hill House being removed. Also, we did receive a $500 contribution from the employees of the 12 Oaks Mall, and we've asked them to receive some recognition at our February commission meeting. We did receive a $150 contribution from the Charter Township of Waterford for their use of Waterford Oaks as a polling site. Now we get into some reports here that we try to provide to the commission on a yearly basis. Item 6 on page 156 talks about the joint passes with Huron Clinton Metropolitan Authority. Number 7 on pages 157 to 168 is a history of mobile recreation going back to its infancy in the early 1970s. We have a report, item 8 on page 169 through 171, where we have the history of indirect costs. And for the newer commissioners, that is what we pay indirectly to the County of Oakland, the general fund, for providing such services as corporation counsel, human resources, purchasing. So that has increased over time, and I think it's right around $900,000, heading towards $1 million now. But if you think about it, if we had to have all of those staff people at a wage and fringe of $100,000, you can imagine how many full-time people we would need to add to our staff in order to provide those services that we do receive from the county. So that also is a history of information technology on page 172. Then we get into the capital assets for the park system on page 173 through 202. Double up food bucks amendment, and that is a food assistance program that we provide through the operation of the Oakland County Farmers Market. And the operational plan that's currently going in light of COVID is on page 203. Item 13, we also would like to again repeat that currently the federal lawsuit that was initiated by one of our law was our neighbors, the Barber family, has been dropped, and that is in regards to the proposed removal of the Davisburg at Springfield Oaks. And item 14 to state in a public outreach meeting that's going to be held on the 19th of January. If you want to participate in there, there's the information included. county holidays that are currently coming up in January and February. Again, last call for the MParks 2021 virtual conference. If you have an interest in attending that, I understand that Andrea LaFontaine is going to participate. You are encouraged to contact Vicki Valco and we'll get you registered. Communications and marketing provided by Desiree Stanfield and her staff is on pages 204 to 206. And we have a couple items that I'd like to include. We had some fence damage at Rose Oaks Park, and the responsibles have been caught, and hopefully we can subrogate the costs through risk management to pay for those repairs. Vibe Credit Union is participating in a coloring contest with Oakland County Parks. And that concludes my report.
Thanks, Dan.
Any questions?
Sorry.
Melissa?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Dan, I just wanted to add in, we did just recently find out that the lawsuit over the Springfield or the Davisburg dam removal was appealed. I think at the 9th hour, they would I think on the 31st of December. So they did appeal that. We're waiting to hear from our attorney what the next steps will be. So unfortunately that is not over just yet, but we'll keep the commission apprised going forward.
Okay. Thanks for the update.
Any questions or comments regarding Dan's executive report? Okay, we'll move on to the next item, which is the executive committee update. We met in December and we discussed a little bit regarding Oak management situation, as well as the golf consultant, and went over the agenda as we see it today for today's meeting. And under old business, the only thing I want to add is, I don't know if you noticed, but the time change of today's meeting was changed till 2 o'clock. That'll continue throughout the year now. All of our meetings will be at 2 o'clock. The reason being is Yolanda Charles, Chris Long, and myself are all on the finance committee, and that meets the same day in a lot of cases at 12 noon. And so we wouldn't be able to get to this meeting in time. So that's why we've moved all the meetings to 2 o'clock. So if it presents a problem, I apologize, but something we had to do. So is there any other new business?
You have
Chris?
a generator? Gary?
Commissioner McGovern, the revised items, the two of them.
Okay. I'm sorry.
And then Commissioner McGilvery, am I going to still be on executive committee? And if so, do we have to reappoint those for this term this year? I'm just wondering, because I think those are, we voted on it before. So I know Dave was on it, me, and who's else? Ebony and Gary. So are we doing the same thing this year? And do we need to have a motion and do a vote on that?
I don't know. Dan or Vicki, do we need to do that?
We have in the past, if you want to go by what standards we did in the past, yes, we'll need a motion for the executive committee member.
Yep.
Okay. So on the executive committee now is myself, Dave Vanderveen, Chris Long, and Ebony. Is there a motion to keep the same folks on there?
Very question.
Yeah, go ahead, David.
I think the committee consists of the 3 officers plus 1 representative from the ballot.
That's correct.
So I don't know that we need to vote on the whole group.
Just the one.
Oh, okay. I
Oh,
misunderstood.
just me? Oh, no. I would like to stay on it if I could, but oh, no.
Hey, David, would you like to make a
Speak or
motion?
anything.
Sure.
I didn't write the speech or anything. I should have kept quiet.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vanderveen, could you repeat that?
I'll move that the executive committee remain as exists today.
Is there support?
Second.
Supported by Amanda Herzog. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. For those opposed? Okay, since I missed them, I forgot all about my separate sheet here. Item 13A, which is a new proposed purchase of a Generac generator. Can someone explain what this is so that we all know?
Good afternoon, commissioners. For new commissioners, my name is Tom Hughes. I'm the Chief of Park Operations for the South District. The generator was a piece of equipment that was approved at the last commission meeting, but after it was approved, the low bid backed out. So we come back here to ask for approval for purchase of the same generator from the second low bidder, which is an $800 increase from the previous low bid. That would be for the Ramsey Police Corporation out of California. Reason to come back to is it's an additional $800 increase coming out of the unrestricted to fund the purchase of the generator. So nothing has changed with the generator. It's the same piece of equipment, same bid specs, just going with the second low bidder now.
Okay. Chris?
This is the generator for the ORV park and all that, right? That we can move around as needed.
Yeah, for the whole park system, yes. It's a larger generator to accommodate the needs within the park system.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Bob, and supported by Amanda. Any discussion?
Yes, please.
I'm sorry, Yolanda, go ahead.
Hi, Tom. You had me at South Oakland, but I wanted to check with you as far as the, because I wasn't here for the previous conversation. I'm not familiar with ORV in this space. Could you just tell me what we're looking at for that generator, location-wise?
Well, this generator is portable, so you can use it at any park within our park system, any application. It could be, operating our stages. It could be equipment. So it's not limited to one item. So it's portable to complement our operations.
Gotcha. I think I've seen them in action. Sometimes they'll have like a light pole sticking up from them to provide additional lighting. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Can we have a roll call vote on that, please, Vicky?
Yes, Commissioner Quarles.
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Vanderveen,
Yes.
Bagley? Bagley? You're on,
Yes.
okay. Herzog?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Costin?
Yes.
LaFontaine?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
McGilvery?
Yes.
Mark, I'm
And then-
gonna report right now. I'll have to call you back, okay?
Motion passes 9-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the last item is the one I mentioned earlier, new revised times for the 2021 commission meetings being changed to 2 o'clock. Do we have a motion for that?
I'll move.
Moved by Bagley, supported by Charles. Is there any discussion? Questions? Hearing none, can we have a roll call vote on that as well, please?
Sure. Commissioner Vanderveen,
Yes.
Bagley,
Yes.
Herzog,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
LaFontaine,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Ash, and Corals.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Very good. Is there any further new business? David?
Just one thing, it just occurred to me. The Fiscal Sustainability Committee seems to be one that's gaining in importance and effort. I'm just wondering if there's any interest in the part of any of the commissioners that aren't on it, particularly the new ones that want to get involved, roll up their sleeves and go to work. Just give us some thought.
Just so everyone knows, that committee was just formed probably 2-3 years ago. And the idea behind it was before we got a millage increase, but we were struggling and continually taking from the unreserved net balance on things. So we were looking at ways to try to reduce our costs and maintain a really good park system, which we have. So that's what that committee is all about. Some of the things we've discussed is, for example, is closing golf courses, wade pool, that being Waterford Oaks. We've talked about that. We've talked about ways to save money in other situations. So that's what that's all about. So, and if any of you are interested, just let me know and we'll add you to that group that sits and meet. We have a meeting coming up on the 26th. So
25th.
if you are, pardon?
Monday, the 25th.
Monday, the
25th.
25th, I'm sorry. I put it in my calendar as the 26th, so I guess I better change that, huh? So if anybody is interested, please, you can let Vicky know and Vicky will add you to the list and we'll be happy to have you. Dan?
Yeah, we just need to make sure that we don't have a quorum and violate the Open Meetings Act.
Okay.
I was just gonna ask that, how many are on that, Dave or Gary? How many are on that fiscal sustainability? Who's on that right now?
It's Dave and
believe
I,
right now it's 4.
right now we're at
Dave,
4, she said.
It's you, Dave, and who else?
Ebony
Andrea,
and
who else?
Ebony and Andrea.
Oh, okay.
We have room for
You
one
don't
more.
want to go, right, like Dan said, maybe one more, you only could go. 'Cause you don't want, oh no, how many, yeah, we have 10, okay.
Okay. If anybody is interested, let Dan and or Vicky know and we'll take care of that. We have one opening, so. All right, with that, I think we're all set. Any other discussion? New business, old business? If not, meeting stands adjourned and thank you and enjoy this nice cold weather.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, but there's sun out today.